Imagine a moment so absurdly brilliant, so raw and unnatural, that it didn't just break the WNBA, it forced the greatest sports icon in human history to freeze in absolute, unfiltered disbelief. Picture Michael Jordan, a man who built an empire on impossible physics and legendary trash talk, sitting courtside, dropping his head into his hands because what he just witnessed felt like a glitch in the basketball matrix. Caitlin Clark didn't just pull off a highlight. She executed a mind-bending, gravity-defying play that fundamentally shattered the unwritten rules of professional basketball. The arena erupted into pure, unadulterated chaos as bench players collapsed, coaches screamed in terror, and veteran superstars stood paralyzed on the hardwood. But beneath the thunderous roaring crowd and the flashing camera bulbs hid a far darker, deeply unsettling reality. This wasn't just a jaw-dropping sequence of genius. It was a lethal, calculated middle finger to a league that had spent months trying to break her spirit. Within seconds, courtside security swarmed the baseline. Players exchanged dangerous, venomous glares, and a terrifying silence fell over the VIP box. Because everyone in that building instantly realized one undeniable truth: basketball would never, ever be the same again. To truly understand the terrifying magnitude of this moment, you have to go back to the toxic, suffocating pressure cooker that nearly destroyed Caitlin Clark before she ever stepped onto that court. From the second she entered the WNBA, her existence felt like a direct threat to the old guard. Heavyweights, jealous veterans, and league purists didn't just want to test her. They wanted to humiliate her, break her mental composure, and prove that she was nothing more than an overhyped media creation. Week after week, she endured brutal physical assaults disguised as hard fouls, relentless mind games in the press, and isolating cold shoulders inside hostile arenas. Behind closed doors, the locker room was a battleground of intense resentment. Teammates like Kelsey Mitchell and Aaliyah Boston were trapped in the crossfire, forced to navigate a locker room divided between those who embraced the rookie's unbelievable drawing power and those who secretly prayed for her downfall. The sheer weight of carrying an entire league's television ratings, corporate multi-million-dollar sponsorships, and skyrocketing ticket sales was slowly draining the life out of her. Critics whispered that she was cracking under the immense spotlight, claiming her long-range shooting was a fluke and her passing vision would fail against elite professional defenders. The boiling point arrived during a closed-door team meeting just days before the historic matchup. Tensions exploded into pure emotional warfare as veteran players openly questioned her shot selection and accused coaches of favoring the young prodigy. Clark sat in absolute silence, her teeth grinding, eyes burning with a silent, dangerous fury. She didn't argue back, nor did she shed a single tear. Instead, she channeled every ounce of public disrespect, every vicious foul, and every petty media headline into an obsession so dark it unnerved her own coaching staff. She was no longer playing for respect or accolades. She was playing for cold, calculated retribution. When news leaked that legendary Hall of Famer Michael Jordan was personally attending the game, sitting courtside alongside top executives, the stakes transformed from a regular basketball game into a legendary trial by fire. Jordan represented the absolute pinnacle of ruthless competitiveness, a global icon who rarely bestowed praise on modern players. The media framed it as the ultimate test of survival. Could the most hyped rookie in history handle the blinding pressure of playing in front of the GOAT, or would the suffocating weight of the moment finally crush her spirit in front of the entire world? Nobody in that sold-out arena knew that Clark was carrying a devastating secret, a hidden emotional scar from weeks of relentless psychological sabotage by opponents who wanted her broken. As she laced up her sneakers in the quiet arena tunnel, surrounded by flashing cameras and shouting fans, she stared at the floor with cold, lifeless eyes. She wasn't just planning to win a game. She was about to orchestrate an unforgettable, game-altering masterpiece that would force every single critic, hater, and living legend to bow down in absolute shock. The atmosphere inside the packed arena felt like a ticking time bomb as the opening tip-off went up. From the very first possession, the opposition executed a brutal, borderline violent defensive scheme designed specifically to physically dismantle Caitlin Clark. Every time she touched the leather, two defenders violently crashed into her, shoving, scratching, and screaming psychological insults directly into her face. The referees turned a blind eye, allowing the game to spiral into pure physical warfare. Clark was thrown to the hardwood repeatedly, her jersey dragged, her shoulders bruised, while opponents smirked directly at the courtside seats where Michael Jordan watched with a cold, unreadable glare. By the fourth quarter, the game had devolved into absolute mayhem, with Indiana trailing by 3 points with less than 10 seconds on the clock. The crowd was screaming, panic was setting in on the Fever bench, and the opposing coach was frantically barking orders to double-team Clark before she could even cross half-court. As the referee handed Clark the ball on the inbound pass, two defenders trapped her right on the sideline, pinning her against the scorer's table with nowhere to turn. The arena clock was aggressively bleeding down. 4 seconds, 3 seconds, 2 seconds. The play had completely collapsed, and a soul-crushing turnover seemed entirely inevitable. Then, the first jaw-dropping twist struck, like a bolt of lightning that left 30,000 people paralyzed in disbelief. Instead of trying to force a desperate pass or calling a timeout, Clark did something so completely irrational, so biologically impossible, that the entire stadium lost its collective breath. Facing backward toward her own baseline, trapped behind the half-court line with a defender's hand literally draped over her eyes, Clark didn't even look at the rim. She launched a blind, full-court, behind-the-back heave with a trajectory so ridiculously high it nearly scraped the arena ceiling rafters. The ball arced through the bright stadium lights in agonizing slow motion, defying every known law of physics and basketball logic. The horn sounded while the ball was still in midair, suspending time as thousands of spectators stood frozen. Swish! The net snapped with a violent, crisp pop as the ball tore through the mesh from nearly 80 feet away, tying the game in the most unthinkable fashion in sports history. The arena went completely silent for 2 agonizing seconds before exploding into total, unhinged hysteria. Bench players fell to their knees in sheer disbelief. Coaches grabbed their heads in terror, and opposition players stood frozen, staring at the basket as if they had just witnessed a ghost. But the real shockwave didn't come from the impossible shot itself. It came from the courtside reaction. Cameras frantically zoomed in on Michael Jordan, expecting his iconic smile or a nod of respect. Instead, Jordan's face was completely drained of color. He stood up, slowly ripped off his sunglasses, and stared at Clark with a look of genuine, unfiltered shock, a look the world had never seen on the GOAT's face before. The arena was in complete meltdown, but before the referee could even signal overtime, a sudden wave of dark, chaotic tension swept across the floor. Instead of celebrating the impossible shot, Caitlin Clark turned around, locked eyes with the opposing bench, and delivered a cold, bone-chilling gesture that sent shockwaves through the stadium. She didn't celebrate. She didn't smile. She slowly pointed directly at the opposing head coach and mouthed a single, lethal phrase that caused courtside security to immediately surge onto the hardwood. Within milliseconds, players from both teams swarmed the center circle, shoving, screaming, and exchanging venomous threats as the situation rapidly spiraled out of control. Opposing players were furious, claiming Clark had intentionally violated league sportsmanship protocols, while her teammates desperately held her back from the center of the brawl. Referees frantically blew their whistles, surrounded by security guards trying to prevent an all-out riot on live international television. The broadcast cut to panicking commentators who couldn't comprehend how a moment of pure basketball genius had instantly devolved into an explosive, career-threatening confrontation. Cameras caught league officials on their phones at the scorer's table, frantically conferring with WNBA headquarters in New York to decide whether to forfeit the game or eject Clark on the spot. That's when the second major twist hit the arena like a physical blow, leaving the entire basketball world reeling in total horror. High-definition instant replays flashed across the giant Jumbotron screens, exposing something far darker than a simple, impossible shot. Slow-motion footage revealed that just milliseconds before launching her miraculous behind-the-back heave, Clark had been deliberately tripped and undercut by a veteran defender in an ugly attempt to injure her ankle. But instead of falling and taking the foul, Clark had used the momentum of her falling body to whip the ball behind her back as she crashed violently onto the hardwood floor. She hadn't just made a trick shot, she had executed a miraculous, physics-defying play while literally falling midair under a dirty play design to end her season. The Jumbotron replay played over and over in slow motion, exposing the dirty tactic to millions of viewers worldwide and igniting furious outrage across social media within seconds. The crowd erupted into deafening chants of anger aimed at the visiting team, while players on the floor realized the magnitude of what had just been exposed on national television. Sitting courtside, Michael Jordan's expression turned from utter disbelief to cold, calculating intensity. He leaned over to a senior league official sitting next to him and shook his head, pointing directly at the Jumbotron replay with a look of severe disgust. The revelation didn't just expose the dirty tactics being used against Clark, it completely shattered the narrative that she was protected by the league. The tension reached an absolute boiling point, setting the stage for a massive public explosion that no one saw coming. Within minutes of the final buzzer, the clip of Clark's impossible falling behind the back shot and the dirty play that triggered it blew up across every social media platform on the planet. X, Instagram, and TikTok instantly exploded into a digital war zone, accumulating over 50 million views in less than 2 hours. Hashtags calling for the immediate suspension of the opposing defender began trending globally at #1. Prominent NBA stars, legendary Hall of Famers, and high-profile celebrities publicly blasted the WNBA officiating, accusing the league of allowing dangerous, malicious behavior against its biggest box office star just to protect bitter veteran rivalries. Behind the closed double doors of the Indiana Fever locker room, the emotional fallout was raw, intense, and deeply fracturing. Instead of a joyful post-game celebration, the room was heavy with suffocating silence and toxic, simmering anger. Clark sat slumped in front of her locker, her right ankle wrapped in a thick, dripping ice pack, her eyes staring blankly at the concrete floor. Teammates stood divided. While some furiously defended her bravery to the press, whispers echoed in the hallway that her massive star power was bringing an unsustainable, dangerous target onto the entire roster. Outside the arena, the media frenzy reached an absolute fever pitch as hundreds of journalists crowded the press room corridors. When WNBA Commissioner Kathy Engelbert entered the post-game briefing, she was met with a wall of shouting reporters demanding answers about player safety, biased refereeing, and league-wide corruption. The press conference quickly devolved into complete anarchy when video footage leaked online showing a heated verbal altercation between team owners in the arena VIP corridor, with threats of massive lawsuits and player strikes being thrown around openly. The psychological toll on Clark was becoming terrifyingly visible as rumors began circulating that she was considering stepping away from the game entirely to escape the relentless toxicity. Major corporate sponsors immediately issued urgent statements demanding a formal investigation into the officiating and the intentional dirty plays targeting their primary endorsement partner. TV networks threatened to pull primetime broadcast slots if the league failed to protect its most valuable asset, throwing the WNBA's financial future into absolute uncertainty and turmoil. Meanwhile, Michael Jordan's unexpected courtside appearance added gas to the blazing fire. In a rare, unscripted moment captured by a baseline cameraman as he left the arena, Jordan was overheard making a scathing comment about the league's toxic environment, stating that true greatness was being punished instead of celebrated. That single leaked sentence from the basketball icon sent shockwaves through the sports ecosystem, turning a local basketball game into a global cultural scandal. The line between competition and hatred had completely dissolved, leaving Clark standing isolated at the absolute center of a storm that threatened to destroy everything she had built. Just when the world believed the scandal had reached its absolute climax, a bombshell leak rocked the sports world at 2 a.m., turning the entire narrative completely upside down. An anonymous insider leaked a classified audio recording from an emergency league board meeting held right after the game. The audio didn't reveal a league trying to protect Caitlin Clark. It exposed a secret, highly controversial proposal orchestrated by rival team executives to hit Clark with a multi-game suspension for her hand gesture toward the opposing coach, claiming it incited fan aggression and damaged the league's public image. The internet instantly went up in flames as fans realized the WNBA was allegedly planning to penalize the victim of a dirty play while letting the physical aggression slide with a slap on the wrist. But the true, heart-stopping twist was yet to come. As news of the potential suspension leaked, Michael Jordan broke his years-long silence on current league affairs by issuing a cryptic, three-word statement through his media representatives that shook the basketball establishment to its very core. Let her play. Within 30 minutes of Jordan's statement, an unprecedented emergency press conference was scheduled by Clark's inner circle for the following morning. Speculation ran wild across every sports network. Was she going to announce a shock hiatus, accept the suspension, or launch an explosive multi-million-dollar lawsuit against the league for failing to ensure player safety? The stakes had never been higher, with network executives, team owners, and millions of fans holding their breath as the clock ticked down to the live broadcast. Late that night, high-definition security footage from the arena tunnel surfaced online, revealing one final, mind-blowing detail from the night of the game. Before stepping onto the court to hit that miraculous shot, Clark was seen talking privately with Michael Jordan in a dimly lit hallway near the locker rooms. Jordan had handed her something small, patted her on the shoulder, and whispered a piece of advice that visibly changed her expression from anxiety to cold, uncompromising determination. What did Michael Jordan pass to Caitlin Clark in that dark tunnel just moments before she made basketball history? Was that impossible, game-tying shot a spontaneous act of genius, or was it the execution of a secret, lethal strategy passed down by the GOAT himself to break the league's psychological hold over her? As the sports world waits in agonizing suspense for tomorrow's press conference, one terrifying truth remains painfully clear. The ultimate battle for the soul of women's basketball has officially begun, and no one is safe from the fallout. Did Caitlin Clark just redefine basketball history, or is the WNBA about to destroy its biggest superstar from the inside out? This explosive scandal is tearing the sports world apart, and the consequences will change the game forever. What do you think about Michael Jordan's secret meeting with Caitlin Clark, and should the league suspend her or protect her from dirty plays? Drop your raw, unfiltered thoughts in the comments below right now. I want to see where you stand on this madness. If you loved this intense, drama-filled breakdown, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on all notifications so you never miss a single shocking update on this escalating WNBA war. Stay tuned, keep sharing, and I'll see you in the very next explosive video.